put it on the home screen so the movie's playing while you're talking in the beginning, or you just gonna go right into the space weather? Oh, you're on already? Well, Jake, why don't you say hi then?
Welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 31st, 2018. Here at grandsolarminimum.com, just doing a quick little live update. Just had a really interesting conversation with Sasha Dobler. Is that his name? Dobler? He has the website abruptearthchanges.com. On his website, he's got several news articles that are current event related, grand solar minimum related, weather related, scientific related. And then he has a few ebooks that he does have available for free on his website. One's a small article. It's about 25 pages long. I recommend it, though. Pardon me. It's the basics, basically, on a grand solar minimum, solar cycles. So definitely something that everyone should take a look at. And then, of course, the book that he has out about the plagues and the possible correlation with solar minimums, grand solar minimums in particular. Now, not necessarily saying that every single grand solar minimum comes with a plague. There's just been a few instances so far that they've found. So, but very interesting conversation, very nice guy, and we'll be getting those interviews out to you guys as soon as possible. Got another exciting one coming up too. We'll get more into that tomorrow, but want to go ahead and take a look at our space weather real quick. Looking at KP indices on the forecast, the 3-day forecast. And they've been around 2 and 3 over the last several days. Excuse me. They're calling for a 3 and a 2. So really minor KP indice readings here in the foreseeable future. Nothing higher than a 3. Taking a look at our solar wind speed, we're in the low 300s, almost at 300 kilometers per second, with a density of under 3. So that's a very weak solar wind right now. And I wanted to show you, oh, no sunspots. We are at day number 9 on the year. I'm sorry, day number 9 in a row without sunspots. That's our current streak. We've had over 16 days without sunspots this year in 2018. Wanted to show you guys something real quick. That might change here too as well. Here's the solar wind speed. I wanted to show its slow, steady decline and possibility of it dipping below 300 is possible as we look at the SDO, and there are no large coronal holes to speak of. But I had spotted some interesting action here on the eastern part of our sun. It kind of just pops up here at the last few frames. If you're looking at the sun at the 9 o'clock position, closer about midway point of the equatorial region, you'll see some sparking going on over here. It looks like a plasma loops, and it just really kind of appears out of anywhere. So I would not be surprised if this gets attention as a sunspot group. And go ahead and look at it on this angstrom right here. I think you see the action a little better. Mari, is my cursor showing up in the video?
It's not moving. No.
No? Okay. Again, look at the 9 o'clock position of the sun, and then right about the midway point, you'll see this little orange speck flare up. That might be an indication that, as rapid as that was, that might be an indication we might see a sunspot appear in the equatorial region. So, and of course, during the minimums, that's where we're going to see these sunspots. Equatorial maximums, you'll see them in the upper and the lower equatorial regions. So, anyway, thought that was interesting. Go ahead and take a look at our forecast for this week and a few days ahead. It changes almost every time we come back and look at this, which, you know, good news in my opinion. Looks like a lot of this snow is going to be light. Looking at today so far, going into Wednesday, light snow in the western New York. We've got some snow in the northwest, the upper elevations, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and of course parts of Wisconsin, Minnesota. You're looking at some snow. Put the map into motion. Little storm builds up in Canada and kind of kind of develops a little bit by the second. And I think when you look at it, this is similar to the recent snow that we had up here in the Northeast, where earlier predictions were showing lots of snow, and then that snow went away, and I think overnight we got close to 7-8 inches of snow. They were only calling for 5. So I think the same thing is possible with this system right here in the Northeast, 3 to 5, a quick 3 to 5. That's in and out of here. Looks like some lake effects, and then it gets a little interesting here on the 3rd, or that's a Saturday. Again, we're talking about these isobars being close together. That indicates rapid temperature fall, and of course, the closer they are together on these storms, that's higher winds as well. But we go into Saturday. Looks like Ohio Valley gets a decent little amount, probably a 3 to 5, 5 to 8 inches tops. Nice little system moving out through on the 4th. And again, in the Northwest, we're seeing that similar pattern that we had back in December, where the front was dipping from the Northwest like a slide into Texas, and then shooting the moisture and the precipitation right off the East Coast and up into the Northeast. And so the pattern pretty much looks the same. Snowstorm, couple days off, snowstorm, couple days off, snowstorm, couple days off. Now, these totals, in my opinion, just looking at this radar, it's very, very early. A lot can change. A lot has already changed. But what I like, what I'm seeing so far, is that this does not appear to be the darker blue like you see up here in Canada. None of these storms that are coming through the eastern, northeast, Midwest, none of them are heavy snowfall. Maybe in the mountains in the Northwest and Utah, but that's the good news, and that has changed. And my opinion on why it's changed is because we are dealing with much colder air coming down from the Arctic, and when as colder it gets, the less moisture can be held in the air. So, if anything, light snow, 3 to 5 inches for most of these snowstorms here. But another thing that's kind of concerning, and I see some relief here late in the forecast on the 15th, finally, some moisture moving into the West Coast. And I say that because looking at the short-term forecast right now until about the 7th, let's see, we'll go out a little further, 9th. We don't see any rain in Northern California until the 13th of February, so they desperately need some moisture out there, and it looks like they get plenty of it on Valentine's Day.
Starman says you're going to break those keys, Jake. You know, we usually stream live on my one computer,
You
and
probably hear it pretty good.
I was
having just push play.
I was having an issue getting something signed in. So, just last minute, I grabbed the laptop and plug it in. And I'm like, we'll just go live from the laptop. But so what you're hearing is him
I'm
clicking the track.
I could have just pushed play, but I was being, cheeky, I guess.
Now, on another note, while you play this, Starman, one of our mods, he says, put Europe up on to the 12th. Whoosh. So
yeah, I was actually, the reason why I wanted to show that, and he must be in my brain, because there is a storm that moves off the East Coast, and I noticed that it picked up intensity as it's leaving, and I don't think it was this one, or the 9th. Maybe it is the 9th storm. Okay, so our storm in the 9th looked to be getting intensified as it moves off the East Coast. So yeah, let me go ahead and switch regions real quick. Sorry guys, I don't mean to be prejudiced out there for Europe. I apologize. We're all family. Just needs a reminder every once in a while. That's what we got Starman for. Thanks, buddy. All right, so we'll go ahead and I'll push play and then pause it when we get to the 12th. Pretty much, you guys are getting wave after wave. You're getting all of our what's left over from our storm. Wow.
This is some of the models on Tropical Tidbits. We'll put the link in the description.
Lots of snow, lots of precipitation off and on. And, he wants me to go back to the 12th. I apologize. All right, so here we are on the 12th. Wow. I see what he wanted to look at. Very, definitely heavy snow, France, Northwest region. And then we go into the 11th. Boom. Said a bad word. Whoops. Wrong show. Okay. And then, no, I see the explosion, the heavy precipitation that we're looking at here on the 12th, and near Italy, France, and of course, the winds too. Wow, that's going to be some really high winds. That's in the Alps, isn't it? That'll be something to keep your eye on, definitely, for sure. So the weather in the northern hemisphere doesn't look that great here for the next few days. We know we've talked about for the past several weeks that the temperatures in the northeast part of the country and over parts of Europe and Asia, I believe, we're going to see this polar vortex increase. And I know we're already starting to feel it. Tomorrow we're supposed to bounce back into the 30s. And then after that, I think that's it. Bye-bye 30s, and we're in the 20s.
I know, it's sort of sad, though. This winter, 30 degrees feels so warm.
Great. 30 degrees.
You know, it's been 19 or, you know, what was the lowest it got, Jake?
The one night, -3.
-3, and then the wind chill is, like, ridiculous. So, you know, you have a warm up to 30 degrees. It's like, wow, it's warm out. It's just like ready to wear some shorts.
And that's what, we were worried about this recent thaw, thinking that, 44 degrees was going to be enough to have that rapid melt. But thankfully, like I'd hoped for, it didn't. But, you get a 60-degree day in western New York or anywhere in the Northeast with 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, plus your creeks and rivers are already running high, that's trouble. And this spring is going to be trouble, because what was leading me to my next point was in April, they're forecasting this cold air mostly through April too. So there's a chance that we're going to be looking at freezing temperatures still through the midway through April. Oh goodness. By the way, I wish everybody there, Planet X News, he is now an old man, officially. He is the big 5-0, Planet X News. Scott.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Scott.
birthday, Scott. Behave yourself. It's your birthday, though,
Nifty.
so it only happens. Guys, taking a look, this super blue moon, man, there are a lot of talks about this. We did a small video about it, talking about the basics of it and everything, what's going to happen, and interesting with the the copper colored shadow that will be reflected onto the sun, which will give it that hue, that bright orange, instead of people hear blue moon and they're like, oh, is it really going to be blue? That's what I used to think anyway, before I got a little educated. But take a look at the map where you can see the totality, and it looks like if you live in South America, you're not going to see any of it. And even us here on the East Coast, we're going to see limited parts, but anyone who really lives, it looks like Kansas back, you're going to get to see the majority of it. Especially if you live in Alaska, you're going to see the entire totality. So, lucky you guys. Mari, did you want to cover anything about, I know there was a...
Well, I wouldn't mind rolling a little bit of the footage of the snow in Morocco. That is
Where's that
pretty spectacular. Let me just sort of shift it over. I don't know. Maybe here we can play it. And let me see what window that guy's on here. This one? Check this out.
This is Morocco.
تساقطات ثلجية الآن في منطقة زاغورا بعد غياب دام أزيد من 50 سنة. فسبحان الله.
This is the first time in 30 years that they've seen snow. And that looks like some heavy snow. Those branches look like they're bending down as well, so... snow in the desert, Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco. And there's also some crazy footage from Tenerife, which is in the Canary Islands, sort of the neighbor of Morocco. First snow in 50 years hits southern Morocco, paralyzes the country. So this affected 100 miles, that's 500 or 5,000 kilometers of roads were closed to what authorities described as exceptional snowfall. Heavy snow arrived to the country's southern regions, was it on the 29th, for the first time in 50 years.
Wow.
You know, this country is not set up for any sort of snow, and obviously, I mean, you can tell by some of these videos.
Look at this. So global warming did it, I guess.
It's been since
Wow.
1968 was the last big snowfall. Unusually heavy snowfall.
Well, you know, this is a statement that's been echoed throughout our community. What a time to be alive right now, to witness what we're witnessing. I mean, you know, some of these snowfalls haven't happened in 50 years in some of these spots that never have snow. Never. You know, to go 50 or 60 years without snow, and then when you do get a snow, I mean, that doesn't look like a dusting. That looks like a good 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6 inches of snow. Heavy snow, too.
The head of communications at the National Meteorological Office there blamed the cold weather and southern snow on the influence of very low pressure, adding that similar cold snow and rainfall that should be expected across the country at least until, they're saying this is going to last till February 1st.
Wow. And you know, and okay, that's not happening.
That music.
That's not happening. So, and then you also want to, you know, keep in mind too, we've always talked about how this is a regional thing right now, and there are places that are hot. There's been record heat in New Zealand. Australia's seen some very hot days. But then, but what really sticks out more to me, and not so much the heat records in those particular countries when it's their summer right now, what throws me off is that we actually see snowfall in the desert, in Morocco, the Sahara Desert. I mean, this is 2 years in a row that we've reported on snow in the desert. So, to me, this sticks out a little bit more concerning. I understand the heat records are serious. There's people who are suffering without air conditioning. I know. I'd rather be cold than hot. But at the same time, it has to be a little bit alarming. And what the president, when he went to what was it? That convention he went to, it starts with a D. Davos? I can't remember. Forgive me, guys. It's been a big day today. But, you know, that was an area that almost got snowed in. And I think he might have made a couple of jabs at the global warming community. And why not? Where he was, they received as much snow as they got, and I don't think it was really supposed to snow like that there. So, again, though, what a time to be alive. The technology that we have to monitor this, you know, all that SDO stuff that we look at all the time, just, you know, some interesting stuff. I'm just kind of flabbergasted right now looking at what I'm seeing. I apologize. Mari, do you have anything else you want to cover?
I don't have a whole lot. I had put on our website and shared a link in the description of this chat. There is another volcano that is awakening, and
that's right.
You know,
that's right.
We're seeing this a lot more frequent. There are volcanic reporting agencies saying that everything's normal, but to me it does appear to be an uptick, and there's many people that do agree with that as well. So you have Mount Mayon going
still at a 4.
Yeah. So
this one here jumped up to a 2.
do you have you shared? I don't know what screen they're looking at.
I've got it.
Oh, you do have
yeah.
it. Because I can't see. I don't have that up right now. For some reason, it's not coming up for me. Let me just turn this thing. But anyway, I'll put the links in there. We just wanted to hop on and say hi. Oh, you know, one thing I will read to everyone, because we get a lot of people inquiring on a daily basis, is, you know, people ask, they see our John Casey interview, and they ask, you know, how he is, have we had an update and everything. And, you know, I do keep in touch with John, and I'm just going to read a message here. Well, if I can pull it up here. I just got it. I'm on my phone right now. Bear with me. I'm not on the the laptop. So
I was actually kind of impressed. We spoke to John, left him a message asking how he was, and he replied, and then we replied back and was surprised how fast he responded just because of how long it took the first time. So that's hopefully a sign of encouragement that he's getting better.
He's
and
definitely getting better.
One step at a time.
There's been several people that have forwarded me information to give to John, and I've passed it on to John. And John's very humbled and very touched by everyone's compassion towards him and reaching out to him. He wanted us to thank you all for the kind words that you've sent in, that we've relayed back to him, and that his progress, he wanted to relay that his progress is continuing. You know, his family has a history of stroke. He is, you know, very thankful to have a second chance at life, and every day is a blessing. So definitely let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. And, you know, John Casey's brought a lot of research and facts and proof to the table when it comes to what we love and research. So, you know, let's keep him in our thoughts. That's all. I was really happy to hear that he was doing well, and he's just staying focused on his health right now and on the mend, and just thankful to have another chance at life. So it was really good to hear.
Yeah, it was good to hear because, you know, I value his information. And, you know, John Casey was probably the first person that I saw in the global cooling community. And his work is accurate. I mean, he's the most credible in my opinion. And I guess that was kind of like my favorite. So starting off early and not knowing much about it, I've trusted John's writings and his research, and it has not stirred me in the wrong direction yet. So definitely good to hear that John's doing well, or getting better at least. So
I just want to, I just popped in the chat and I see DIY Solar and Wind. Thank you very much. Thank you for viewing us. You know, we enjoy what we do here, and we like sharing our thoughts and findings with you, and we love hearing back from you. So definitely thank you for supporting our channel. All our new viewers here, thank you so much for being here. And
yeah, welcome to the new subs.
Being a part of the community.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get off here. Stay tuned. We've got some more Ralph Whittier. Mari's got about 3 more parts to edit through, and then we'll get the Sasha interview with him. Very nice. Plus, we have another special guest on Thursday. We will let you guys know about that later. But until then,
and I got another one on Friday as well.
Friday,
all kinds of stuff lined up.
A little busy, so
busy.
Gonna try to get as much information as quickly as possible, guys, because we don't really know how much time we have. So it could be 10 years, it could be 4 years. So with that being said, you guys take it easy, and we'll talk soon.